program today is being brought to you by Best of the West Properties, Dream Motors, 82 Coffee Company, Susan McRae Accounting, the Montana Western Bookstore, and Dennis Sherg of Edward Jones. And today we have Montana Western football players John Mears and Braden Swank. And before we chat with the boys, we're going to talk a little bit about last week. You guys won your fourth straight football game, 56-14 thumping of MSU Northern. John, you were perfect in PATs. Yeah. You went 8 for 8. And you broke the Bulldog scoring record set by a good friend of mine, Eric Zahler.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about Eric a little bit later on in 2004. And Braden, you with your defense, you held Northern scoreless until deep in the third quarter. And I'm guessing that time was the time that Riley put the 2s and the 3s in and gave them some reps.
Yeah, it was really good to get them some reps in the game.
So the win on last Saturday over Northern, combined with Carroll's mini upset of Southern Oregon, that means Saturday's game is a big, and we use uppercase with B-I-G.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big game when Carroll comes to town. I've got to remind everybody, too, kickoff for Saturday's game at noon at Bulldog Stadium. And if you're a football nut, and there's a lot of them in Dillon and Beaverhead County, you get a doubleheader on Saturday.
Yep.
You guys open things up, and then the Beavers in the second round of the playoffs play at 4 o'clock. Okay, we're going to move to John. John, I'm calling you record-breaking kicker and wrestling coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Hometown.
Belgrade, Montana.
Okay, parents?
Lois and John Mears.
And we need to talk about Lois a little bit later on.
Okay.
When you were in high school, you played football and wrestling both, right?
Yep. I played track actually for 1 year too, but
okay,
I wrestled.
Were you a speedster or were you a weight man?
So I actually just did it for fun. So I did javelin, the mile, and then pole vault.
That's
kind
of a wide-stretching array of track events.
I know. Well, I just did the mile because I was wrestling at the time, and it was a good way to cut weight.
So, and then the other one was the javelin and the pole. Do you see anything with this? No. Okay.
It was one year just for fun.
I'm not the only one who.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So, you were a state high school wrestling champion. You had the skills probably to wrestle in college if you wanted to, but you were also a football player, a kicker, and so once again it seems like a lot of you guys in high school that are faced with two sports, there's that tug of war on what you want to do.
Yeah.
We're gonna let you coach your mom a little bit later on, but what was the deciding factor? I mean, you could have done either or in college. What made you go to football?
Wrestling's just a tough sport, so I know it. And you got to do it a lot out of the year, and it's pretty grinding on your body. So I just didn't see myself being able to be productive for 4 or 5 years in a wrestling program, especially because I wanted to go D1 level. So it had been super hard on my body, and I thought kicking even at a smaller school would be more beneficial, and I could help out the team a little bit more.
Okay, and now we get to bring Lois back into the picture.
Yeah.
What was her reaction when you said, "Mom, I'm going to be a kicker, not a wrestler"?
It was probably the best day of her life, or one of the best days. Probably not the absolute best day, but one of the best days, just because she saw like weight cutting's pretty tough, and it's just part of the sport of wrestling, and just how much work it comes into it. And then she saw the other side of kicking, how it's kind of less strenuous on your body, maybe a little more mentally taxing. But she was pretty excited, but she let me make my own decision, and I think that was the best.
Yeah, that's the important thing. A lot of times parents like to live through their kids.
Yeah, yep. No, she actually ran track for WSU, so she's pretty competitive. But yeah, both my parents just left it up to me, and super supportive the whole way.
Okay, so you've made the decision now you're going to kick and not wrestle. What drew you to Montana Western?
So Riley Martello reached out to me with the mounts. We're here, Trey Mounts and Kerry Mounts helped me get recruited here. And Martello was the only one that offered me for football. I went to a bunch of other junior days, and they nobody offered me but Montana Western, so I thought I could come out here, get away from home a little bit, and kind of have a football career here.
Okay, and back to wrestling really quick. If my research did me correct, there's all kinds of wrestling connections with you and Montana Western.
Yeah. I came in, Cameron Rouser, my brother actually grew up with his older brothers, so I knew Cameron from a young age. Colt McPhee, I knew him. Reese Neville actually wrestled one of my friends that was a little older than me, and actually beat him. That guy went on to wrestle. Jarrett Deegan went on to wrestle at Iowa State for a little bit, and there's a few more. Noah Danielson, I knew him.
Big Noah was here for a long time, it seems like.
Yeah. But he was a good wrestler too back in the day.
Pretty good offensive lineman too.
Yeah, there's probably a few more. We're always getting some wrestlers in here, and I think that helps the program. They definitely know how to tackle. Work hard. So.
Okay, so we got you at Western. You're playing football. What's your major?
Physical education.
So you want to go on and be a teacher and a coach then?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any plans after graduation? Is it back to Belgrade, or is it wherever the job is?
So it's kind of complicated. I actually want to stay here, but so I'm going for PE, but I'm going to try to get endorsed in math this off season because I know that Dylan has a math teaching job opening up maybe next year. So I'm hoping to actually stay here, teach math maybe next year for half the day at Dillon High School, and then continue to be a wrestling coach.
Yeah, I know you're working under TJ Nelson.
Yeah.
So TJ brought the first national championship banner to Montana Western. You can see it when you go in the gym.
Oh yeah.
What's it like to work with TJ? Because I know when he left coaching originally, he got into the private sector, and he was kind of doing that, and then all of a sudden he's back as a wrestling coach again. And I'm guessing the intensity that he had when he was with the Bulldog wrestling coach is probably still there on the high school level.
Yeah, no, I think he does a great job. I know some people in town have some mixed opinions, but I've learned so much from him on and off the mat that it's been pretty great. I really didn't know how hard coaching was, till getting into it, and there's some long days, and he's getting older, but he's brings the energy every day, which is kind of cool to see. And then he has a lot of wrestling knowledge, worked with a lot of high-level people in his day, and it's just cool to work underneath such a big influence of wrestling in the whole state of Montana.
Yeah. Well, in closing too, I told you I was going to tell you a little story about Eric Zahler.
Okay.
Eric, I don't know if you heard the story on how he got to Montana Western from Washington. He's from I think he's kind of in the same neck of the woods we're from, but his girlfriend at the time signed to play volleyball.
Oh, okay.
And he was out where the kickers used to practice out in the tundra when the practice field was over in the old place.
Okay.
And he was over there kicking, and your buddy TJ was walking by, and I don't know what he was doing on campus because he wasn't having anything to do on campus anymore except just friends. And he saw Eric booting the ball. Wow. And he went directly into the football coach and went to the window and said, "You need to look at this guy." That's how Eric became the Bulldog kicker, by his girlfriend coming here to play volleyball. I mean, he was a soccer player.
Wow, what a small world.
Yes.
I know now he coaches at Butte, and right before my freshman year here, I went up and did a kicking camp with Casey Kautzman. He plays at MSU now, and Eric Zahler was there helping out, so I got to meet him, and he's like, obviously didn't say anything about the scoring record, but it's kind of cool, here 4 years later, I'm breaking his record, but I saw him.
Well, and the thing, he's a lot like you. He's very low key. He's very humble about his achievements and stuff like that. And I think what he would probably do if he came down here, he'd say, "John, let's go out and have a beverage.
Okay.
And then you guys could sit around and talk.
Yeah. I'd like that a lot.
You would love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, John, we're done with you.
Okay.
I want to thank you for coming in, visiting with us. Good luck Saturday against Carroll. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to put Braden on the hot seat, and we'll do that next on Extra Point on Southwestern Montana News.
Thanksgiving is just right around the corner. That means snow and snowy slick roads on your way to Grandma's house. If your ride is not ready for winter conditions, stop into Dream Motors today and find your dream pre-owned vehicle today. Most vehicles now come with a 3-month, 5,000-mile limited warranty.
Back to Extra Point on Southwestern Montana News. On the hot seat now. You even got your red shirt on it.
I do.
Yeah. Braden Swank. And, we talked about John being a record-breaking kicker and a wrestling coach. I'm not really sure what you did other than being a DB, but I know for a fact that you were a 2-time NAI pass breakup leader, and you already have 15 this season. But I also know that you didn't play very much last year.
I did not.
So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yep.
Let's do the scouting report on Mr. Swank first of all. Hometown.
Maple Valley, Washington.
Okay, and when you say Maple Valley, Washington, I look at the Bulldog roster and I see 3 guys.
Yep.
So, and were you the one that started at Missoula first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
So what's the connection? What brought 3 guys from Maple Valley, Washington to Dillon, Montana to play football?
Yeah, kind of like you said, I was in Missoula, University of Montana my freshman year. I was going to walk on, and then COVID happened. They didn't have a season. Kind of scrambled to contact coaches, the Frontier coaches, talking a little bit to Carroll, and then came down here to Western, was talking to Coach Ramsey at the time, and I came down here during a spring practice and fell in love with it from the get. Ended up committing here, and Michael Plonger, our quarterback right now, he didn't really have a place to play college football at the time. So I gave him a call, and I'm like, yo, man, I committed to Montana Western, like, you should come with me. And, the next day or a couple days later, he committed as well, so we ended up coming down here together. And then the year after our freshman year here, we got Dylan Shipley as well, a receiver for us. He's been very productive, a huge part of this program. So, yeah, came down here together.
Well, I'm when you talk about you and the relationship between you and Michael,
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to your parents, basically.
Yep. It goes back to our dads. Our dads played at Eastern Michigan together, ended up being college roommates, became best friends, worked on a fishing boat on the coast, on the West Coast, and ended up moving to Seattle. Our parents from the Midwest, my dad and mom, they're from Ohio, and then Joe, Michael's dad, is from the Chicago area, so ended up moving to the West Coast.
Small world, huh?
Small world.
Yeah.
Small world.
It's got to be cool too when, John comes from Belgrade, so he's not that far away from going home. But then Maple, how long a drive is that?
It's a 9.5 hour drive.
One way. So the fact that you have 3 people that you played high school football with
makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
So what else did you do in high school besides football?
I actually wrestled. I wrestled in high school.
You're a wrestler too,
yeah,
huh?
Yeah.
Okay,
I wrestled up to my junior year or my sophomore year, and then I knew I wasn't the best wrestler, but it just made me a better football player. I was really undersized, so that aspect of wrestling, the double leg takedowns, the takedowns obviously help your tackling a lot. So, like I said, undersized, and then I knew that I wanted to play college football, and wrestling was just so time-consuming, so I really shifted my focus strictly to football training, and yeah.
It's almost like John just wrote the script for that last answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and the fact too, it's like in my experience in watching wrestling from the practice to the meets and stuff like that, that intensity to strength, that's got to be something really big.
Oh yeah.
For football, and in the endurance factor too.
Absolutely.
The endurance factor.
Yeah.
Did you guys find that the higher altitude, because I'm sure we're a few thousand feet
Oh,
higher.
yeah.
How, did it take you a while to get used to?
Yeah. The first couple of weeks, we got thrown into fall camp, and I was with the twos when I came down here, and the pace of the game was just so much faster down here as well, and the athletes that we had at the time and currently, just trying to find my breath. The first week I'm like, I'm out of shape, and I thought I trained hard enough to come in, but obviously not. But yeah, the altitude definitely had a big factor.
Well, and what you kind of I echoed there a little bit is a lot of people don't really understand how good the Frontier Conference is.
Absolutely.
And it's just not in all sports, but I mean in football in particular, you look at it right now, we have 4 teams in the top 20.
Yeah.
We very possibly could have 4 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah. It's the SEC of NAI for sure.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that. I've heard that before. And the cool thing about it is the fact that most of the kids that play in the Frontier are from small high schools. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Washington or Idaho or Montana, it's the smaller schools.
Yeah.
So is what drew you to Montana Western? I mean, football was one thing, but academics had to figure in there somehow too.
Yeah. I learned about the block schedule when I came down here, and I didn't believe them when they said we only have 1 class for 3.5 weeks, and I'm like, no, we don't. There's no way. At the college level, I'm like, yeah, I'm totally in. That kind of brought me in here, the schedule, but also, the people down here are just so friendly. I came down here, like I said, in the spring, and really the majority of the team came up to me and introduced themselves and said, hope to see you this fall. So I'm like, wow, it's a family connection. It's super cool, super tight, and I love to fish, the outdoors. I mean, it's incredible. The Beaverhead's 2 minutes down the road. So
yeah, so fly fishing or bait fishing?
Fly fishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is, as I heard one sportsman say, this is blue ribbon country.
Absolutely.
Around here.
Not many rivers like this in the country. So.
No. College major?
Business administration.
What are you going to do when you grow up?
I'm actually going to be a college football coach.
Okay.
So I have my internship this spring with Coach Norris. Be on the defense side of the ball and, learn from one of the best around. Learn from the best coach I've ever been around. So it's going to be cool to open my eyes a little bit more from the offense side of the ball and defense as well. So it's going to be fun.
I got a trivia question to ask you guys.
Oh boy.
So when Coach Norris was a Bulldog,
mm-hmm.
Can you tell me his number?
Maybe it's,
sorry, Coach.
Maybe it's Eli's 7.
No. It's in the 20s.
No.
What was it?
3.
3. Wow.
Yeah.
Right on. It's a cool number.
Okay. Hopefully he doesn't make you run or anything.
Yeah,
because
we're
of that.
probably wrong.
Sorry, Coach.
Yeah,
Coach.
Yeah. So, and then you had a minor. Well, I don't know if it's minor because you only played 3 or 4 games.
4 games. Yep.
Before you got hit, and I remember seeing you on the sidelines and your great deal of angst in your face,
mm-hmm.
not to be out there.
Oh yeah.
So, what was the injury?
Yeah. So I broke my collarbone. It was a Thursday practice right before Montana Tech game. We were coming off our bye week. Thursday practice, one of the last team sessions, probably 30 minutes left to practice at the dog park, and I went up for a ball and lost my momentum, got too high and landed right on my collarbone or on my shoulder. I thought I tore my labrum this shoulder my sophomore year, so I thought I just tore my labrum the other shoulder. But then I kind of put my hand in my pads and felt a bone, so I was kind of shocked, put in, and then that's when the pain started to shoot. So it was it was unfortunate.
Now, and I could be just hearing the wrong thing, but I heard that there was the possibility that you might have been able to play mm-hmm. in the playoff game.
Yeah.
But the athletic trainers chose for you to stay out just so you could play this year. Is that true?
Absolutely. Yeah. We got surgery right away, and we were looking about coming back for the C of I game. That's what we were shooting for, and did a bunch of physical therapy with the trainers. They really got me right. I got all my mobility back, but the team doctor was just didn't let me go out there, which was the hardest part. But at the same time, it was awesome watching those guys succeed during the season. So
yeah. Okay, we're going to go back to both of you guys now. You both played. Now you called it the dot. What'd you call Vigilante? dog?
Yeah, so where we practiced last year was a dog park across from the golf course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I learned, and I've been in Dillon for a long time, but I didn't realize that the nickname for the Vigilante Field was the Vig.
The Vig.
That's
Yep.
what. So you guys played at the Vig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now you're playing at Bulldog Stadium.
Yeah.
Talk about the difference. Both of you guys' reaction on.
Well, for me, I like it because just playing so many games there, definitely later in the season, right about now, it gets so slippery and just gets so torn up. So as a kicker, it's kind of like you could be kicking right in a divot or something like that. Maybe you don't trust your footing. So being on turf and everybody being on turf is super nice for me because I know the ground's super level and you don't have to worry about slipping as much. So it's pretty nice. I like it. We've had a lot of big games there this year too, so a lot of people have shown up. So it's been super cool.
So I got to ask you a question, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Okay? Was there any kind of wager on your first field goal or extra point that the ball would go over the fence across the road? Or did that just happen to happen?
I
mean, like I said, you don't have to answer.
I wasn't the one that made the wager, but I heard before the season started there was a wager that I couldn't kick over the net. So I think I made it clear that I can.
Yeah,
so.
your first extra point was on the other side over in the BLM parking lot, I think. So okay, Braden, your thoughts on playing Vig versus Bulldog Stadium?
The Vig has so much history, so it was a kind of a bittersweet moment for the team. But Bulldog Stadium, it's unbelievable. One of the best facilities here in the Frontier, and just the amount of support we have, the continuous support. It's like no other in the country. But also at the Vig, we had, at this time of year, there was an advantage for us. We'd practice on grass. So when teams would come down here, they'd practice on turf all the weeks, play on turf. So that was an advantage, just having those guys come down and playing on dead grass and hard ground. And we were just so used to it. But like I said, on the other hand, Bulldog Stadium, it's a great environment. I love playing there, and continuing to have a winning streak and continue to win games there is going to be cool.
Well, North said too, having Bulldog Stadium is also going to help with like spring ball.
Yeah.
Because where you guys were down there or out in the practice field, the field hadn't thawed out yet.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like you were playing on cement that had maybe this kind of rug on top of it. Now, you guys are both, you're senior, right?
Yeah.
You guys are both seniors, so you don't have to worry about it. But the guys in spring ball now, it's going to be a little easier to get ready instead of worrying about getting hurt because injury. When you play in cement, good things can't happen.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's a lot closer walk to Bulldog Stadium other than the dog park or the Vig, that's for sure.
Yes. And then you guys both mentioned the support you have from your parents, and I think I read somewhere about that you really like the idea of looking up in the stands and seeing your parents and the Palandres, and I'm sure you do the same thing. And the nice thing about Bulldog Stadium, that stand is closer than it was before.
It's a lot closer, and it's right on the field, which is so cool about the stadium. That's my favorite part, is that the stands, they're straight up. So, I mean, there's not a bad seat in the house. So you're right on top, and I look up. My parents and Palandre's parents are right below you guys, standing right there. So it's super cool to see them. And my parents haven't missed a game my whole career here. So actually, my dad didn't go to a Dickinson State. Mom and Dad didn't go to Dickinson State my freshman year. So, but yeah, they've been at every other game, and it's been a huge support, and that's what's gotten me through the last 4 years.
Yeah, I can say the same thing about my parents. They've only missed maybe 1 or 2 games my career here too. So, yeah.
And that's important.
Absolutely.
That family support.
Yep.
I mean, it's one thing playing the sport you love, getting an education, but the fact that you've got that family support, that's that colloquialism, that's frosting on the cake.
Yeah. I was talking to Coach Tello too this past week. We were walking up to practice together, and we were just saying how grateful we are of having such great parents. His parents come down here. Tom and his whole family, they come down here, so it's super cool to see them as well and support Coach Tello through his coaching experience here at Western as well. So
Yeah, it's once again something you guys both said. It's family.
yeah, it's family.
Yeah. So Braden, John, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day. You got practice. You got a big game on Saturday. We want to remind everybody again, kickoff is at noon. But thanks for coming down and being our guest today.
Absolutely.
On Extra
thank
Point.
Thank you, Wally. Appreciate it.
Our program today has been brought to you by Best of the West Properties, Dream Motors, 82 Coffee Company, Susan McCray Accounting, the Montana Western Bookstore, and Dennis Scherg of Edward Jones. We'll see you next time on Extra Point on Southwestern Montana News.